What do you think leadership is?
For me, yeah. First, well, I don't have leadership can be defined by anything really. Everybody kind of has their own definition of leadership.
What about you?
To me, examples.
Yeah.
I can give you examples of leadership. I think a leader must lead by examples, by action, instead of just ordering or instructing people what to do. I think it's more important, and I think we see that many times through the Imams of the Ahl-Bayt, through the Prophet of Islam, how he used to come and help and be a worker.
Because that's the difference between a leader and a dictator.
Yeah, you lead by example, and that's key for me. And I really don't like it when people are put in a position of let's say a leader or leadership. They're not ready for it, or they're just not suitable. They're not the appropriate people for it. And what they do is that they try to overcompensate because they know themselves, but nobody's going to admit it. You know, especially like a manager in a company. If you got there just, hopefully you got there based on your experience or your qualification. But if you just got there because you got lucky, you knew the right people, and now you become more like a dictator than an actual leader, and then your team doesn't function the way it's supposed to.
So what's the criteria of being a leader?
Criteria, I think you have to be wise, you have to have the right experience, you have to be passionate, believe in what you're doing, and so on and so forth. I mean, these is just to give you a few snippets of what I think a leader is. And again, it's very, very important, it's crucial to always lead by example, instead of just sending the messages, sending the instructions. You have to give direction, you have to give guidance. Leader is like a guide, say, hey, come, I'll take you by my side, give me your hand, and we'll do it this way. This is the way I like it done. I'll show you first, now you do it. And if you need help, I'll come and help you. I'll give you some more guidance. And that person works for that individual.
You see leadership as a servant's role, as in to lead is to serve.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Like if you're a leader in a community, then you're serving that community.
Yeah, to me that's what a leader is too.
Yeah.
Like if you want to lead people, you have to be their servant. Like Lao Tzu has a quote. He says, "To lead people, walk behind them." Right? You're the one that's pushing them to get to where they need to go.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
You're not the one in the forefront, in the limelight, getting all the action. That's not what the leader is about. About being the one who gets the hot spot. It's you're the one who's serving everyone else. You have to be the stairs, the stepping stone for everyone.
Out of curiosity, what would, with your experience and your background, what would that service entail for you?
Me?
Yeah.
This is a personal question. And personally, for me, first of all, there's a whole issue about wanting to be a leader. Like that's something that I think people shouldn't try to do in terms of a position. I want to be a leader so I can gain a position.
Get that title. Yeah, people are after a title.
That is not what true leadership is.
Definitely,
but if we all grow to, because there's the issue of should we all be leaders, don't we need followers too? But I think if people can have leadership qualities, and
there's different types of leadership.
And everyone's a leader in their own field and sphere, so they can help all of us to make the best of ourselves.
Because in our society where Islam is under attack, it's very important for us to be leaders in our own fields. Because if we're not the ones who are taking those roles and being the examples, then someone else is going to be taking those roles. And then are we then in a position to complain that Islam is being misrepresented?
I think for me,
that's one way of looking at it, of course.
For me, it's to bring the best out of people through bring the best out of yourself. So, that famous Gandhi quote, that's always so overquoted, be the change you want to see in the world, right? But really, like that's very profound. Just step back for a second and think about it. Think of the world, right? This kind of trips me out sometimes. Think of the world and what it would be like if everyone was you. And if you would be happy with that world, like Hussein Makki has to be careful about what he says, because what he says, he has to live with that. That's the bed that I'm going to sleep in. I can't act, as you said, lead by example. I can't act differently than what I'm saying. So if these are the things that I'm saying, yet I act in a different way, and I manifest that, and later on, let's just say everyone in the world was affected by me. Yeah. So if I was this angry, hostile, unkind, selfish, individualistic kind of person, everyone else is going to become that way, and that's all I can expect if that's what I was.
You would
so
self-destruct.
Would you be
in that
happy,
world.
really? Like, because I know I wouldn't be happy. I think of the world right now, I think, no, there's so many things in myself that I wouldn't want in the world. You see?
Yeah.
So you want to get rid of that.
And because I think, coming to that question, I just reflected on it quickly, and I just thought to myself, you know, if everyone was like me, then who would I have to benefit from, and who would I have to help me to grow as a human being?
See, it trips you out sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to be the person who helps everyone and benefits everyone, so that if everyone was you, then everyone's benefiting. You see, that idea, I think, puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, it puts a lot of things into perspective for me when I think about it, because then I'm like, this is something that needs to be refined in the world, because we're good at looking outside, we're not good at looking inside. So how about you make your inside outside, and then you realize that's a bad thing. I need to change that. So when you say, can you, like, I want to save the world, yes, you can. Save yourself. Through changing yourself, you do.
For the better.
And by the way, people around you, when you do change yourself and you grow into a better person, and that's what we have to keep doing, because we're on a journey of Kamal. And we said our Lord is infinite, so we have infinite potential, but we need to keep growing in all these different spheres in life. And on this journey, when you grow, people in your life who are not growing with you, on their own, they're going to start falling out. You know, this is something else that people hold you back from.
You know what's interesting about treating people in a certain way? I've found that the better you treat people, the better you feel about it yourself. And not from a perspective of ego, but it's just something that is part of our human nature. So it encourages you to even become a better person, because it makes you feel even happier.
You know what I would say? The leadership of the self too. I think if we acknowledge that, like, our heart is the leader of ourself, and that we have to protect our heart, as like, instead, not leadership is not just a position outside. Like, our heart is the leader, and when the heart dies, like, we die. And when the heart is alive, it's leading the way. We're alive, and that's why it's like so protected. You know, it's got the rib cage around it, behind the sternum, the hardest part in the body. It's the heart is that life. Like, I think it's whales, in a certain type of whales in the sea, when the leader of the group is sick, and then is dying. The rest of the whales in the group, they come to shore, they commit suicide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all die when their leader dies, and that's kind of like what happens with our heart when it dies. And you know, when for example, not being able to have tears is like a sign of a dying heart, a heart that's slowly withering away in sin.
Our hearts are what represent us, because it's funny, because we live in such a materialistic world. And you know, people they put a lot of emphasis on the mind and intellect. But when someone, for example, they point, you know, they're saying they're pointing towards themselves and saying me, they don't point towards their mind. They point towards their heart. And that just shows that this is what it's really about.
You know, there's a poem that I really love that I'd like to share with you guys.
Go for it,
bro. Go for it.
Yeah, because it's about leadership. So I was like, you know what? I love this poem. I've loved it for a few years, and
do you want me to get you a mic?
Mic check. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
I just need a minute.
No, I'll kill it, man.
It's written by a man named Elliot Hulse.
Okay.
People say they want to be a leader, a teacher, a coach, but very few realize leadership is a servant's role. To lead, you must stand behind. A teacher's ego mind is set aside for a time, while the focus is not on what's me and what's mine, but how my student will succeed, even I, in time. To coach with this approach might seem weak, but to most, they think leadership's opposed to stand, brag, and boast. But I see a coach as a servant, and utmost, to lead, you must stand behind. I grew strong only that I might strengthen you. I faced pain only that I might show you through. The struggles, the tussles, the frustrations that brew, the dark red blood through skin which is bruised. I stand behind you because there was a time that I knew a man pushed me to get through and pursue. That dream, that goal, that glory which grew from down in my guts came up with this spew. He taught me, he coached me, he split me, he broke me. He cried and he tried, and his methods he wrote me. With his strength he pushed so that my success might ensue. He made me stronger so that I might make you. And now you grow stronger, that you might make too the next man in line. Like a moment in time, will look behind, and there he will find you who grew strong with my foot on your back, forcing you to keep your focus on track. like I did you and he did me. The forces of strength grow like family tree. A fruit does not grow without branch, without trunk. The nourishing soil's underfoot, not up front. To lead is to bow. To teach is to grow. To coach is to know that when the wind blows, the tree is unmoved. In the earth, it is stuck. And I stand behind you to push you up front. You get the sun. You feel the rain. And I'll keep you strong. From behind, I'll remain.
Wow. Well, that pretty much sums it up there. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. That was pretty cool, man. I like that. That was brilliant. Gives you all the different dimensions of a leadership.
That's why I was saying it's a servant's role.
Yeah, now I know exactly what you're
so much of it is self-awareness. It's amazing because on this path of God, although you have the books and the divine guidance which is coming to us, but in order to accept that, you must search within yourself first, otherwise you will reject that. Yeah. But you can see that he searched within himself, and he's eventually going on the same path that we are. I've still got a long way to go, but it really helped me to understand what I like to do and what I should be doing. And because of that, I was able to make the decision of what I wanted to do in order to become successful. Now Allah is he's at the top of the list, and through Allah is where I want to gain my happiness. And for me, happiness is twofold. It's number one, I enjoy doing this, but more than anything, I want to use it to serve the people, because the way I feel about this is that we're living in a time where there's so much chaos and corruption. I can't be one of those guys who just goes to school, gets an education, then gets a job and gets a big house, feeds his family, and then story over.
There's got to be more to that.
There has to be so much more to that.
Don't get me wrong, that's good.
It's good, yeah.
But I get where you're coming from. There has to be more than just looking out for yourself and looking out for your family. We do have to collectively look at our human brothers, our brothers around us, brothers and sisters, right? I think we have a role to play.
I feel like there's no time to waste when it comes to pursuing what you like to. And in the age of social media, when you're seeing all these different videos of how people are treated when people go through hardships and no one's there for them, where not that I'm trying to say we shouldn't care for animals, but when people disregard humans and they care for animals, and it just makes you think, well, what is going on with the world? No one's kind, no one's considerate, everyone's just out for themselves. And what the sad thing about that is that everyone has potential to become great, but they're so enslaved by chasing material dreams, and they're so unhappy about it. For me,
so how would you bring leadership into that?
Leadership into it by saying that first you start with self-awareness. Once you have the self-awareness, then you understand who you are, what you need to do. And now all of us are created differently, right? Allah has made us all differently. There's a saying that comes to mind. I'm just going to paraphrase it because I'm not too sure if I'm going to say accurately. It says something along the lines of, everyone's a genius, but if you compare a fish to a monkey when it comes to climbing trees, then it's going to be, the fish is going to look stupid, but that's not the case. So everyone has their own roles to play in life. But it's when you realize you have that role to play, then you can say, you know what, this is what I need to do. I need to do this because I like it, because this is how, this is what I'm made for. This is what's going to help others. This is going to help myself. This is going to bring me closer to Allah. And by
start with yourself. I think that's the theme that we're all going for.
Yeah, start with yourself, because work on your own mistakes, because we're all fallible.
And I think that affects people the most, actually. So it's different.
Criticizing yourself.
As in manifesting action rather than just words. When you're always telling someone, so if you want people to read, and you're always telling someone, read a book, they're just going to be like, okay, or roll their eyes, or they're not. But if they see you
grab that book off the shelf, sit them down with you, and you begin.
If you're saying, you don't even have to sit them down. If they just see you coming in and out of the house and you're always reading, they think, this person is always doing this thing.
Let me try it.
They seem happy. So it's like, again, I've quoted Emerson before, but to quote him again, he says, your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear what you say.
Wow.
And I always found that very profound.
That is profound. It's quite nice.
Guys, we've gone deep, but that's all we have time for today. Until next time.